Hi everyone, my name's Lee-Anne, this is Cory. We're twin flames from templeofbalance.com and Temple of Balance on Facebook. And we've had some twin flame questions specifically about our journey. So we thought we'd come together and share some of our thoughts and story with you. So the first question we've got is, how do you attract your twin flame? So probably the best way is to just be yourself. That's the best way you can attract your twin flame, is just be yourself. Do what you love. Try not to go searching and seeking and desperately finding them. Instead, step back on that quest for urgency and just be yourself. Do the things you love. That's what I was doing before we met. I was practicing in my Temple of Balance. I had been started there for a couple of years, and Cory found me through Temple of Balance, through my actual passions. So what was that like when you first found me online?
Well, it was actually a series of events that led to it. A good friend of mine sent me a few website links to go to, and I was just browsing them one night, and one link led to another and ended up on Lee-Anne's website, and I was just kind of caught off guard, I guess, the way to describe it. I was kind of transfixed by the website. Spent about 2 hours just staring at the front page without even realizing it. The only reason why I know it was 2 hours is because my screensaver turned on. And that kind of snapped me out of my trance-like state, I guess. And then I was like, oh, well, that was weird.
Okay, so someone also asked what signs we had before meeting. I know for me, I had lots of little signs as I was growing up, I guess, and little things that happened that we talked about, and that kind of made sense. But for several years before we reconnected in the end of 2008, I had a lot of dreams about Cory. I was in a marriage at the time, so the best way I could actually cope with realising the reality that I had someone else out there, another part of me, was to think that he was in spirit. So I thought that for quite a while until the signs got really strong, and then out of the blue we reconnected. So what signs did you have before we met physically?
The earliest sign for me was when I was a child, actually. Anytime that I was alone in a room by myself, age about 5, 6, I would hear a voice calling my name. And it was always the same voice, and I'd wander around looking for who was calling out to me, and never found anything. Asked my mom if she was calling my name, and she's like, no. And so it's like, oh, okay. And it wasn't until I never figured out what that voice was until after Lee-Anne and I reconnected, and this one night I heard her just softly singing, and it just reminded me straight away of that voice that I used to hear when I was a kid. It was the exact same. So yeah, that was the first sort of sign for me.
Yeah, that's so cool. So we had lots of signs, really. Another question was, how did we deal with separation? And well, I guess for me personally, I was working on my own personal separation issues just for a few years actually prior to reconnecting. So I'd been doing a lot of personal shifting of that myself. And then when we reconnected, we did a lot of work on clearing those separation issues and our own fears connected with them, based usually on past life stuff, and our being torn away from each other in past lives was actually really difficult for us because we reconnected distantly at the end of 2008, and then 10 weeks later we connected for the first time physically. So that 10 weeks for us was very big on healing and releasing that separation. We cried so much. There was a lot of songs that really just struck a chord with us, that brought us to tears in a lot of cases, because of the pain of being separate. And we kind of had that fear, I guess, as well at some point, that, you know, are we actually going to be able to get together physically, because we had so many memories and wounds from past lives of being torn apart, or the other one leaving the other one, and, you know, they were quite deep wounds that we had to really actively cleanse and release. So is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, it was an intense sort of 10 weeks of clearing the stuff, but well, it was needed before we could really come together. You know, you can't really come together as twin flames if you have a lot of baggage still that you're carrying around. Twin flames won't come together when they are in a sort of chaotic state. Yeah, that kind of goes back to the first question of how do you attract your twin flame. If you're in a sort of state of desperation, trying to hunt down your twin flame, it's not going to happen.
So their last question is, someone wanted to know, how do we deal with finding out about each other? So for me, I mean, obviously I was just ending a long-term relationship with 2 children, and that was going through its own sort of stuff. But then on the other side of it, we were just opening, or I can't speak on behalf of anyone else, but for me, my heart was opening so much to love that pull was as strong a feeling as I've ever felt. So there was no doubt in my mind that Cory and I had to be together, but there was also no doubt in my mind that the universe was going to get all obstacles out of our way and make it really smooth and quite easy for us to be together. And that is what happened. It was pretty easy and smooth, really, once we got out of our own way, which didn't take long, to really kind of carve our combined paths for ourselves. I mean, Cory crossed the whole world to be with me, and we dealt with visa stuff and other things, and it all happened, even at times when we didn't know if it would. It always did. So love always finds a way if we get out of our own way and let the love in and let it happen.
Yeah, and you know, for me, growing up, I was never interested in being in a relationship for any reason. I was always, you know, asked by my family, oh, you know, when are you going to get married and all that sort of thing, and like, I'm not, because I don't care to. I'm quite content with just, you know, being by myself. But then when Lee and I reconnected, that just completely changed. I finally, I was like, oh yes, okay, you know, I do actually want to be with someone else. I do want to get married. You know, I don't want to still be alone. When I was quite content with that before, and like Lee-Anne was saying, everything just all worked out. Even getting my my passport, that happened 2 weeks earlier than what it was supposed to. So, you know, everything just kind of fell into place. Yeah. So if it's meant to be, then
the timing will be perfect. So it worked for us, and yeah, we're still very happy and very much in love now these years later, and we know that we're going to complete our lifetime together, and that this is the end of our mission, and then we'll be returning home. So we've found a sense of home too by being with each other and living our lives and days out together. So is there anything else you want to add?
No.
No? Okay. Well, thanks so much for watching. We trust you've enjoyed this video, and I think it's nice to be able to hear other people's story. So just always sit with what feels right for you, and everyone's story is going to be different, but it's good sometimes to hear other people's perspectives and what's happened for them to give you perhaps a bit of a different perspective or something. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy our work and what we have to share, please visit templeofbalance.com.au to learn more about what we do. There's also a free ebook that we've written a few years ago, so I'll put the link of that up in the video's description. If you'd like to support our work further here at Temple of Balance, please consider becoming a Temple of Balance patron. I'll put the link to that below as well. So thanks for watching. Namaste.